Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to the new snowy edition episode of Breakfast with Boom. Of course, I am your host, Mr. Boomstick XL, and we have an outstanding show set for you today. As you can tell, I literally put as much as I could into the thumbnail to let you know that you were going to have a killer show. We have some Gears Hive Buster DLC playing in the background. I also have the new trailer for a second Extinction. We have the new trailer that I'm going to be playing of Ninja Gaiden Master Collection. And I also have an hour's worth of new footage from Assassin's Creed Valhalla that will be playing. Obviously, you can see a couple of times I get wrecked in this in this part of the Hive Busters DLC. But listen, we're going to get into the intros now so we can get right into the topics. First, we're going to start with my very good friend on loan from PlayStation Nation. Please welcome the subtle voice of the trophy room, Mr. Bad Bit.
Boom, I'm here to be a kid now and a squid now.
That's
First and foremost.
Awesome, dude.
You told me we're talking about some Splatoon, and I had to get this hat that I believe I stole from a GameStop.
Dude, that is the freaking coolest hat I've ever seen.
Yeah, so here I am, letting my freak flag fly, because you know what? Again, I'm a kid now, I'm a squid now, I'm a kid, I'm a squid, I'm a kid, I'm a squid. If y'all don't know, I love a good Splatoon. Look at that over there.
That is nice. That's a good looking head. I got to tell you right now,
man. I try my best, and don't worry, I got more gadgets and gizmos to show off. But I'm happy to be here today. Today's about having fun, about being a kid and a squid.
Yeah, we have a lot of really interesting topics. One of which, of course, we're going to break down first the Nintendo Direct. But I'm gonna come at this from a different angle because everyone has been talking about what was there. I kind of want to talk about what wasn't, and I think that in itself is really the story. We're going to be talking about how Phil Harrison, thank goodness he's no longer with Microsoft, literally said he blames Microsoft's Bethesda acquisition for the closure of the divisions for Stadia. It is preposterous. I have the quotes that I'm going to be reading live on the air. And of course, we're going to be talking about Ninja Gaiden, which I am through the roof excited. The Master Collection, which is the trilogy remastered. And we're going to be talking about Second Extinction. And I think that this particular second party exclusive for Xbox is going to be a much bigger deal than many people expect. As a matter of fact, I would even dare say, Joe, that this has the potential to be one of those Neo-esque PlayStation exclusives, but for the Xbox. And I think that, at least I hope, we see more of that because, quite frankly, one of the things that, as we know as Xbox gamers, one of the things that they hang their hat on, so to speak, is the fact that multiplayer, the community playing with one another is a big deal. And Second Extinction has basically that written all over it. But we'll get into that in a second.
I do want to say one shout out to one comment. Reign of the Third Eye. What's wrong with Joe? Question mark. Rain, I've never been more feet in my life.
Here he is. BitCloud Gaming 84 on the scene. Yes. Okay, we got the full crew here today. BitCloud. We'll get to you in a second, brother. I'm glad to see you here. But Dreadpool, first and foremost, folks, Mr. Dreadpool, it's his birthday. So let's celebrate today and put some happy birthdays in that chat. How young are you today, Dreadpool?
Circa 1973.
Good for you. Good on you, brother.
So yeah, I've been around the block.
Yeah, I'm still the oldest bastard here, but yeah, happy birthday, dude. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out.
Don't worry, I'll just send you an Xbox pimped out cane.
Yeah,
for your next birthday.
Yeah, that'd be great. That would be kind of cool.
That'll work.
Oh man, but thanks so much for being here, brother. Can't wait to hear your opinions as always. Look forward to getting and breaking down some of these big topics. Next up, Crispy Bomb. Obviously, he is our resident chainsaw cutting, Gears of War playing professional. welcome back to the program there, bro.
Oh, good morning. What is up, chat? Happy birthday, Dreadpool. Happy
Thank you.
birthday, bro. And I've actually been playing less Gears and more Division 2. The Division
Oh, dude, I'm
is
so
back.
addicted to it. It's obscene, dude.
Yeah, dude. Like, and it's just so much fun playing with your friends. It's a great time, and it's a challenge too. And that's I think why we're just enjoying the heck out of it.
You know, it's funny. I've been playing so much footage that I literally, as soon as I dropped Mrs. Boomstick at work, I came running home to record some new footage because, it's all I've been playing is a Division. So, of course, I got some Gears in there. I got some Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And I'm actually kind of mad that I didn't record any Division, not because I miss playing it, because I do. I was talking to my brother this morning. I'm like, dude, all I can think about is freaking Division 2. But I have the hunk outfit from Resident Evil, Mr. Death himself. And running around this hunk, I'm going to tell you this right now, is dope as F. I'm just so excited to play this. But let's continue with the introduction so we can get right into it. Yes, absolutely. And speaking of Resident Evil, one of the bigger fans in the community, also representing, and we'll be talking a little bit Dino Crisis maybe as well, Big Cloud Gaming. Welcome back, my brother.
Good to be back. What's up, everybody? Good morning.
Saw that
Happy
video
birthday
yeah, you know what? Big props to you on that video you dropped the other day about the successor to Dino Crisis. Man, my hype level went through the roof with that.
The only downside about it, though, it's first person.
It's first person.
Yeah, that's the only downside.
Yeah.
A lot of people might say it's Turok. A lot of people might give it Turok vibes.
Here's the thing, and I thought about that as well. And I said, something? Maybe we don't need a first-person Dino Crisis. But then I remember saying we don't need a first-person Resident Evil, and they did it, and it was fantastic.
It all comes down to execution. If you can knock it out the park, I mean, we'll forgive anything, Resident Evil.
Yeah, we sure will.
Example of that. Like the dad. Like, who would have thought the dad would be the creepiest, one of the creepiest characters in Resident Evil history, and one of the funniest. Go figure,
right? Like
exactly.
When you look at all of the different BOWs over the years, the Tyrant, the Nemesis, and Mr. X, and just keep and William Birkin. There's just so many of them. But yeah, he was a creepy MF, and when he chased you, you got scared. Like even in the opening one, when you're running around the house, you have to open up the lock on the floor. I remember actually sweating.
Dude, he did. Not only was he got your blood rushing kind of thing, he made you laugh, especially when he destroys the table and he goes, "Oh, damn it, how am I supposed to fix this?" when you get away from him. So that was funny.
Oh man! Well, listen, folks. I want to thank you, gentlemen, for being here as always. Breakfast with Boom would not be a great show without you guys. And of course, I want to thank the 115 people already here. We're only a few minutes in. Let's get right into the topics of discussion, and we're gonna start off light. Now, normally Nintendo isn't one of the bigger topics on many podcasts, but whether you love Nintendo or you hate it or you're kind of lukewarm on it, it's still relevant. And I kind of want to break down what happened at the Direct. Now, what's interesting about this particular official full-on 50-minute plus Nintendo Direct is this is actually, folks, if you didn't know, the first time they have had a full-on Direct in years. As a matter of fact, I was listening to Kind of Funny, and they were talking about how the last time they had a full-on Direct like this was, I think, in September of 2019, which is bananas. And you know what? Again, we've seen Greg Miller and Tim Geddes talk about it. We've seen just about every big podcast talk about what was there. And really the highlights of the show are, of course, the HD remaster of Zelda title that a lot of people passed on. I never played that Zelda game because I didn't like the controls. So for me, it's going to be a new game, which is why I cannot wait to buy it. Of course, they made the surprise announcement of Splatoon 3, which I was very shocked that we're getting one. And I mean, 2 is rather old, so it makes sense. But I was shocked that it was there. For me, and I like of course, Greg Miller got excited. He got really excited for Mario Golf. I don't know how many people enjoy Mario Golf. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to be honest. The running around, swinging the sticks in multiplayer gives me personal nightmares. Here's a story. When my mother and my father took me and my brother, I must have been about 7 or 8. My brother was a little younger, and when I saw this, I immediately harkened back to I believe what was the miniature golf place called in City Island here? It's Turtle Cove, I think it's what it was called. And why I have nightmares is because my brother was a very impatient bastard. So smaller. He's swinging the golf club back and forth, trying to hit the ball like a lunatic, and he misses the ball. But who does he hit? He hits his brother, me, square in the forehead, and I had a cocotazo the size of a golf ball, and all I remember is crying like a little baby. I think I was like 5. I think I might have been like 6 or 7 years old, and I didn't beat him up then, but rest assured, he got an ass whooping afterwards. So when I saw the multiplayer mode, I was like, you know what? I think I'm not going to play that because I'm going to have nightmares. But I do want to talk about, Joe, and I want to go to you first on this. You see, it's easy to talk about what was there. And quite frankly, that was a lot of filler, in my opinion. But I want to talk about what wasn't there. And the major titles that I missed from this, and that I was absolutely expecting 100%, was some more information on Bayonetta 3. We didn't get it. Breath of the Wild 2, we didn't get it. We got an apology saying, "Oh, we're sorry, we know, but we'll come back to that at some point." But here are the 2 that are that for me, as a fan of Nintendo, as a fan of this character, of this series, of this incredibly long-running franchise. Why didn't we hear about Metroid Prime Trilogy, and why we did not hear about the 3DS port of the new Metroid game that should be on the Switch is beyond freaking me. So, Joe, I know a lot of people were disappointed. I'm going to be honest, I was. What were your thoughts on, of course, the Nintendo Direct?
It was really bad. Listen, some people will say, Joe, when you talk about Nintendo, you kind of you look like you're going mad, right? Because I love Nintendo. I was a Nintendo kid for up until the Xbox came out. So like the NES to Super Nintendo and 64, that was my jam. Even the GameCube. GameCube's one of the most remembered, because I remember there was like a meteor shower when I was waiting outside the Toys R Us in Wayne, New Jersey. Rip, you suck. Anyway, yeah, those were the times. And so for me, I'm a lapsed fan. I came back with the Switch because like the Wii wasn't for me. Obviously, I wanted the Wii U to be a success. It just never was. And so like for me, I've been wanting Nintendo to have a win, at least in my heart, for a long time now. And Switch was out for a very long time. Like, Splatoon 2 is one of my favorite, just Splatoon in general. That was like the only game I played on the Wii. But like, Splatoon 2 is one of my favorite multiplayer games of all time. I love Splatoon 2. And you might say, Joe, why? Because, you're just playing with kids. It's the same reason, and it's because of that. Because like, how many times you're in a restaurant, these kids, the table next to you, are being loud or obnoxious, or the kid in Walgreens is crying like a baby because he didn't get the thing you wanted, and you just want to backhand them, you want to just like punt a kid around. That's what I want to do, and Splatoon gives that to me, punch a child. And so I love Splatoon 1 and 2. Seeing Splatoon 3, I got pumped for. Mario Golf has never been for me. It's never spoken to me. But I'm open to give it a try. But yeah, this direct overall was really bad, and I think that's like the common consensus here is that Nintendo's really got a stranglehold on the market for the weird game ass games of video games. And I think when
Yeah.
we think of the audience that was the Switch in the beginning, it really isn't that anymore. And so I think the people that fell back in love with Nintendo with the Switch are kind of weaning off of it, like off the hype, and that the people that enjoy those video games, that's what Nintendo's going to have, and those indie titles. So when they said that, oh, you know, this is for our first half of the year, first off, that was a fucking lie. But and you're seeing like, yeah, where's the bigger titles? We're just seeing a hodgepodge of like a lot of indies. Why isn't this an indie world? It just felt a little all over the place, messaging wise. So like, honestly, it was a mess of a direct. A lot of these could have been tweets. I don't feel like especially for the 35th year of Zelda, which I understand will probably get a mini direct focusing on the Legend of Zelda.
Joe, what they're saying about the Zelda stuff is that they have more to announce. I think Twilight Princess is getting the HD. I think Wind Waker is another one that is probably going to get its third iteration, if you will.
Yeah. And I think it's just a weird way of opening up this show that we were all like, again, it's gamers' expectations. We were all expecting something big because it's been so long. But kind of like what I said in the beginning of our last show is generally what you want is what you don't get. So like we kind of had these overblown expectations that weren't able to be matched by Nintendo. I don't think they ever would have been matched by Nintendo. But there's just some other like weird things. It was just a weird feeling direct that I felt like I wasted, for the most part, like 50 minutes of my time. The one thing I do want to highlight is when they're talking about Skyward Sword. I love that they pretty much go in with the attitude of like, yeah, I know this is not the one you wanted, but hear us out. We're doing it anyway. And,
they did seem like, look, I'm going to be honest with you. Thank God that they added the fact that you can use the controller. But I gotta be honest with you, dude. Having to use the right stick.
Yep.
Man.
And to show, like, we talked a little bit about this last show, but like, and then this is the end of my rant, I promise. But how Nintendo will literally let you pay $60 for what is essentially, let's be real, a lazy port.
It is a lazy port, yes.
There's nothing added to it.
Yeah, you know what was a lazy port? The 3 Mario games for $60.
Exactly. And you'll do it and you'll buy it. And that's what makes, I think, Xbox so awesome. And even to a certain extent, PlayStation really awesome. But more so Xbox on the one point of like, they'll make sure that your old Xbox games play even better than they have before. Like preserving that history of gaming and making it even better. And then like seeing this, I love seeing the screenshot of Demon Souls remake on, side by side of like Sony will charge you $70 for a game that's totally rebuilt and reimagined from the ground up, and here's Nintendo, and you just see Link really like fudged up looking. Like, yeah, at least their quote unquote competition at least tries to go back to the well and try to modernize it, where Nintendo won't even do that. They'll be like, here's a game from 2009. It's only running better because of the processor of the Switch. It's not a whole lot better. Here you go. Oh, the swings are on the analog stick, whatever, and kind of just walk away. And you're going to buy that. And I think Nintendo speaks volumes to how full of shit I think a lot of us are. Where we're just like, this is awful, but here's my money. I guess
don't buy it anyway. Yep, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's again, I have said this on publicly, I've said it privately, I've said it on public social media. I know that I'm essentially part of the problem. Like, if I didn't run to the store and buy Mario 3D World like it was a new title, then maybe Nintendo wouldn't put it out like that. But I'm just such a fan of that particular game that I was so excited to get it. In fact, I bought 2 copies, one for me and one for my nephew, including the 2 amiibos and a new Nintendo system, which I didn't need, but I bought it anyway. I mean, listen, it is what it is. But let's get our Big Cloud. Big Cloud, listen, we've seen PlayStation shows, we've seen Xbox shows, we've seen some Nintendo Directs that are freaking fire. This was not one of them. What are your takeaways from this, dude?
I mean, there's a few, honestly. Now, we just recently all came together, did we not, to combat the price increase for Xbox Live Gold. Now, the argument that we all made. Yeah, yes. The argument that we all made is that we're not paying more for essentially is considered what? Mediocre. So the fact that Nintendo is trying to sell you Skyward Sword for $60 and the only thing you're getting out of this is an HD remodel is ridiculous to me. Now, to go even further to this, too, with the show, see, a lot of people had crazy expectations. I honestly didn't. I didn't really care for much because I didn't think Breath of the Wild was going to be here because of how quiet they've been. And when he came out and said that Breath of the Wild wasn't here and that you're going to get some information later on this year, it was kind of weird. But what did shock me was that we didn't get no information for Bayonetta 3 or even Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, that was another one.
That was another one. That
didn't even have it on the list, and that's a big one. Yeah,
and I'm like, Nintendo, I get it, Nintendo. You're in cruise control, right? You're selling like crazy with the units. You're selling. Okay, fine. Nintendo has like the easiest path, if you think about it, to greatness right now with just the games they got by themselves. You mean to tell me you don't have anything in store for your future? You have nothing to show right now?
Yeah.
And these are the big games. And granted, people can talk about the ports. I mean, my thing is this. You can port whatever. PlayStation does it, Xbox does it, right? But here's the thing about those ports. They go all out. They bring them, up to date. They give them features, XYZ. They'll go with the ray trace and whatnot. Nintendo's giving you the bare minimum. Not even trying. And then that one game they decided to go, this is going to be our big star of the show, which is Skyward Sword. Nobody's hyped for Skyward Sword. Why not go with the other games? Why not do that? Why not just come out with a $70 collection for Zelda? Why not?
That would have been actually much better if they would have put 2 or 3 games in one.
Exactly. Give all 3. You showing off a bunch of Joy-Cons with the Skyward Sword logo on it doesn't really make me go, oh my God, this is game changing. It's not game changing. I will give them one moment though. I forgot the name of the character, but he's being added, or they're being added to Smash. That was actually to honor Etika, so that was pretty cool. That Etika got his wish after all.
Yeah,
the sword ladies.
Yeah, the sword ladies. Yeah, that was Etika actually wanted those. He lobbied for those characters before his passing, and so the fact they did that to honor him was really cool.
Etika. Yeah. I didn't know who he was. I hate to say this until after I started hearing the stories of what happened to him. And he was a big Nintendo dude, like really a big Nintendo guy. And what's crazy is he was ultra. And like when I saw some of his stuff, I was like, man, this guy is really freaking good. Yeah, the way he expresses himself. So that's. I mean, again, I now did Nintendo actually say they did that for him?
No, they just did it. Everybody pieced it together. I'll
be honest with you. I wish they would have said something like, in honor of someone that was one of the biggest fans. We did this. That would have been really epic. But Nintendo's kind of crummy sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
I got the and God rest his soul, but I got the I forgot the name. The guy who used to run Nintendo.
Reggie.
Not Reggie, but the other guy.
Iwata.
I got Iwata vibes when he said, please understand, wait for this. That's what I got. God rest Iwata's soul, but that's literally what I got when they talked about Breath of the Wild. And it's like, at this point in time, Nintendo, you need to be continuing to raise the bar, so to speak, what you got on the market. Bringing back old games that did not sell at all because of the Wii U is not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it.
Yeah.
And, again, I say that, but, there's going to be the guys who pay 60.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I say, like, the crazy thing is it is cutting it for them.
Yeah.
It's like again, like they already said, like Mario 3D World sold more in like the first three days than it had on Wii U. Like,
it's crazy. I'm so confused by Nintendo fans, Joe. I really am. Like you think they're with all of us. Like we want the same thing. We want at least some value in the market, and then they'll go and just buy like the most high price, mediocre, type of experience, and then they'll talk down about that if it's offered on Xbox or PlayStation.
It's weird because
it's so weird.
It's like there's Nintendo really is in its own field because, like, when I see Nintendo content creators, they don't give a shit about the teraflips or teraskips of anything, right? They're just like, what? I don't why, like. Why does he see, whatever? I don't care.
Why do you think that we're not hearing about a Switch Pro? I mean, because they are making money hand over fist.
That's
like
another
I said,
thing too. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to be here at all. Boom! I was like, a Switch Pro, they don't need it. They honestly don't need it right now. Yeah, they don't need it.
You'll probably hear something towards the end of the year for sure.
That's like 2 years away, in my understanding, bro. I don't even think it's a year away. I think it's 2 years away.
I think we're going to see something probably at the end of this year because it'll be like 5-ish years old. Yeah. So like maybe beginning of next year, because I'm thinking of Splatoon 2 and I'm thinking of Breath of the Wild 2, of those games kind of being the launch into whatever the Switch Pro is.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know how long they can hold out on this Switch Pro. You know, I'm not saying 4K, right? I don't think any of us are expecting 4K on the go. I don't think any of us would even want that. I think either 1080p, obviously that's going to be the case, 1080p on the go, and then like maybe your beefier dock that can hopefully push the games to 1440 max.
Yeah,
that's about it. You know, beefier internal 60 FPS. That's all they really need. They don't need anything else aside from that. But that Switch right now, it's bare bones even compared to the Vita. And that's a shame that I'm saying that. That's a shame. Vita is long gone.
Yeah, I mean, go figure. I mean, the Vita had opportunities, but it never caught on, and the Switch it just does not stop selling. But Crispy Bomb, before I get to you, brother, let me thank a couple of super chats that came in. Elk Dude, first of all, thanks for being here, brother. Definitely appreciate the generosity. He says the Switch has been turned into an old game emulator, for the lack of better words. Appreciate you guys. Well, we appreciate you doing, and you are 100% right there, Elk Dude, for sure. And another super chat came in from, let me see if I could find it. Okay, yeah, here we go. Smitty Smith, our brother, bringing us back to church once again. He drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, good morning, everyone, and happy birthday, Mr. Dreadpool.
Thank you.
But Crispy Bomb, again, we talked about what was there and a lot of it was filler. The fact that we don't know about a Switch Pro, the fact that we don't know anything about Metroid, it's like they didn't even bother, which, P.S., by the way, Metroid turns 35, the same as Zelda, this year. Mm-hmm. And I understand that you can't have so many anniversaries in one shot, but when is Samus going to get her due? It's just, it's like one of those franchises that Nintendo doesn't seem to give a flying F about. And the Metroid Prime trilogy that has been rumored to have been made its debut, I think it was 2 or 3 Game Awards ago, is still not here. To say I'm disappointed would be an understatement. Well, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the one game that everybody keeps asking for and they just keep not doing. This is no surprise to me, even Nintendo. I've lost interest over the years. I really lost interest after the Wii. The Wii was kind of like this amazing thing at the time, and it really brought a lot of people together. I feel like the Switch could really bring back some of that, but the problem is they're really just kind of rehashing these games like all the time now. And it's one of those reasons why I haven't like even had any interest to get a Switch at all, because, you know, like my girlfriend's son has one and he doesn't even play the darn thing. Why am I going to play it? I mean, and you have to understand, like, I've played Nintendo for so long in my life that like me going and playing some of these games and feeling like they're nearly playing, you know, what they were, it's a little sad to me. I don't even want to experience that. As far as the Nintendo Direct, I didn't watch it. I had enough reactions from the people around me. I'm like, this is a waste of my 40 minutes of my life. I'm not doing it. You know, that's not to say that they can't turn, you know, to some new IPs and stuff. They have made IPs. They made Splatoon. You know what I'm saying? So they need to start thinking about, you know, bringing out some new stuff that will pique my interest. They need to bring out a Switch Pro. They need to revamp this thing a little bit. They need to get rid of this stick drift problem that continues to happen, and especially in the light. They need to work on this. And if they don't, and huge Nintendo fans continue to purchase these mediocre products, that's on the Nintendo fan. I mean, I'm not going to do it. That's just like, Xbox, they have done a lot of things that we have called out. PlayStation, same thing. Like you see the thing going on with the stick drift over there. People are starting to call it out,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to sit there and hate on it. I mean, we've had issues on Xbox side too. So, but at least you're calling it out. At least you're saying, hey, you got to fix this. This is not right. And if, huge Nintendo fans, people that just have a Switch, if you're not going to say nothing, there's not a whole lot. We're not in that community well enough to really, establish something, because you really don't have many people speaking about anything on Nintendo side. So when we do, I mean, hate it or love it, come on, man. Like you gotta call for some more. You gotta get something on.
I don't think Nintendo fans are necessarily they are, again, they're very different consumers than us, because a lot of them are just like, yeah, cool, I'm in. Like a lot of them are just like, okay, this is awesome. And I'm like, okay, so like to us, if that's them setting the bar low, then really just Nintendo's meeting that lowered expectation, or like, Nintendo's like, this sucks, and then Nintendo's like, well, we're going to Nintendo. They're like, okay, I'll buy it anyway. It's like, well,
there's things like lower your expectations and then just not having none to begin with. Like that's what I think was going on with them. Like, because honestly, I hate to say this, but if this was Xbox or PlayStation, we wouldn't hear the end of this type of conversation. This would have been like, there would have been a roast session unlike no other. If that was
I agree. I definitely think that there's a double standard for sure. No doubt.
It is. It's like, can we stop? Can we seriously stop? Like Nintendo needs a wake up call, a massive wake up call. Nothing's changing for the better at this point.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Like online infrastructure boom is an insult to anybody.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen that infrastructure? Like, it's bare bones. It's like, what are you doing?
You know what's crazy? It's even beyond bare bones. It's so ho hum. It seems as if, and I think everyone will admit this, it seems as if like it's an afterthought. Like, oh, we just need to say that we have online, so whatever gum and straws and sticks we can put together, well, there you go. Take it and like it. Dreadpool, let's get your final opinion on it to move on to some of the bigger topics. For you, I mean, you're an older dude like myself, so you grew up on Nintendo. Does Nintendo need to do better? And what are your thoughts about what wasn't at the Direct more so than what was there?
Well, as any company, it doesn't matter if it's Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, Amico, or any others previous and after. They always need to do better. You know what I mean? And going into the Direct, I had no expectations either. I've always said that, right? Don't expect anything. Hope, pray for the best, prepare for the worst, right? So I had no expectations. I was excited to see what we saw. It was cool to see, the new stuff. And, it would have been nice to see some other stuff from Zelda, but at the same time, a lot of people were hyping themselves up to see this. Yeah. This is what we're expecting, But do you want another Mario port that was poorly done? You know what I mean? So is that what you guys want?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be what you want. You want something more. Just because we put a little bit of lipstick on a pig doesn't make it a beauty queen. I'm just,
That's a good one.
It's just facts. I mean, we need to expect more from them, and you guys are right. We're not going to see a Switch Pro or Switch, as somebody else has commented, XL or new Switch or, or Switch New, whatever you want to,
Still,
any of those acronyms that they always keep on slapping on there. Yet again, lipstick.
Bro, Nintendo still hasn't even looked for a solution for online voice chat. And they're talking about like Emoji plays and stuff like that with Splatoon. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing that I've said from the get-go. It's horrible. Even at that price, not having a proper solution just because you could say, okay, we're technically online. Okay, well, yeah, I can technically charge you for internet services and say, well, you technically have internet. It's just you got to come here and log into my Wi-Fi. And that's when I give it to you. That doesn't make sense. So, and that's where, unfortunately, Boom is one of the problems. He goes out and buys the games, but the thing is, he wants to support the stuff. And this is where it's a catch-22. You want to support these games. You want to support the interest to continue for the new games to come out, because if they don't get that support, then they're not gonna. There's no interest here, right? There's no interest in Metroid because it doesn't do good in this market. There's no interest in this game because it doesn't do well in this other market. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's that catch-22. If we go out there and we buying stuff, then yes, it shows that there's interest in this game. Then let's go ahead and make the sequel. Okay, let's get that sequel out there so they can buy the next rendition at full price. And unfortunately, some of these games, you got to remember, not everybody's played. Right? There's the next generation that we keep talking about. That are coming up behind us.
And see, that's the thing. Like, I never played Skyward Sword. I never even bought the game. You know what I'm saying? I know there are people. No, I've never played it because I was turned away by having to stand there and swing my my nunchuck. I didn't want to do. I wanted to play like a traditional game, and Nintendo took that away from me. So I was like, well, I'm not going to get into the Zelda now.
Right. See, and that's so. Technically, that game is brand new for you, even though it's an HD. I wouldn't even call it a remake or a master. Or any of that stuff. It's just an HD add-on. It's really they just spruced up the textures. That's it. You know, it's the same game, nothing more. But that's so it. Yet again, that's that. You know, catch-22 that we're talking about. You know, Boom's never played it. A lot of other people have played it. I haven't played it either myself. So the interest would be there to go ahead and get it anyway. So, and that's where we kind of have to figure out how to voice our opinions properly to get it out there and saying, hey, look, this is great, thanks, but we need more than just this. We need the next game, and we need to still support the games that they're putting out. But unlike how they're doing it and how Xbox and PlayStation are pushing better frame rates, better visuals, textures, and such, for their newer consoles, because
better infrastructures for streaming. They just they stopped their whole program.
Streaming the interaction of everything online. They keep on progressing that, right? They're not doing that. They're just
also,
taking.
I'm sorry. I just got to sidestep for just a second here. Did y'all see the Apex Legends?
What happened?
Woof. Because the question was, how are you going to get this game to work on Nintendo Switch? Uh-huh. It looks like everybody has a texture.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
When they toned it down that much to get it on there?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So it's worse than The Witcher.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I'm very curious how that game's gonna run, but have that audience, because you need 60 players up for that game.
Yeah.
Ain't no way you're gonna be cross playing with that. I don't think cross plays on Switch, because there's no way that thing's getting 60 FPS. And just like the online infrastructure of the Switch, coupled with the most people are going to be playing without an Ethernet cable, so you're going to be playing via the Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
and the Wi-Fi card in the Switch is a mobile card that is worse than what you would get on a mobile phone. So it's a lot of their decisions don't make a lot of sense.
Well, 3G is cheap right now, so let's use that.
If they would have waited a year before they released that system, they could have came out with I remember that one little device. It was called the UFO. It was in R&D. It was 1080p. It was like a Windows
I think so.
PC on the go, basically.
Yeah,
the UFO. They could have went with that. That could have done 1080p, all that jazz, all the bells and whistles. They could have had everything ready to go in that. The only downside behind that one, though, if I remember correctly, it couldn't do 60 at 1080p. But honestly, 720. That would have been your answer. That would have been your answer right there.
Yeah, it's a rough one.
Well, listen, all I know is that we everyone walked away disappointed. Nintendo needs to do better, and I think we need to hold them accountable for sure. But what I want to do is I want to move on to now. This is a smaller topic, but it's a big one for me personally, and that was another surprise announcement that was there at the Nintendo Direct. But it was afterwards that we had confirmation that it was coming out to all of the consoles. And of course, I'm talking about Ninja Gaiden Master Collection.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to do is I want to bring up the trailer. So I'm going to pause this and I'm going to switch it around because that trailer was dope. And if you are a fan, of Ninja Gaiden, you've been waiting for us to be able to get a new one. If you watch the end of the trailer, it suggests that something else is coming. But here's the thing. Joe, I saw your DM to me where you let me know. At first, we didn't know it was coming to the Xbox. We thought it was just going to be, typical Sony release and Nintendo release. Turns out it's coming everywhere. Thank God, because I would have probably just bought it on another console, but I want to play it on my Xbox. I mean, for me and for a lot of people, Ninja Gaiden, its heritage started on the OG Xbox. Now, these versions that we're going to be playing are the Sigma ones that were released on the PlayStation. A lot of people don't know that. On PS3, Sigma 1, Sigma 2, and then, of course, the last one, which Razor's Edge wasn't terrible. Hopefully, this is the better Razor Edge than the first release. The first Razor's Edge, Ninja Gaiden 3, was freaking awful, and they fixed it. I'm super excited for this. It's coming out June 10th. Obviously, it's remastered, and all of them are remastered. I hope that they're not lazily remastered, Joe. I mean, some of the screens, they don't look, like Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 3 remakes. This looks like it's going to be rezzed up a little bit. This could be
like
the
Resident
lazy
Evil
man
4 all over again.
Yeah, it could very well be, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm so excited to be able to play as Ryu Hayabusa. I think what this is going to tell us, if you look at what it said, like I said, it had that little, like Marvel-esque end trailer of the trailer where it says he has more work to do. It suggests to me that we are going to get this multiple times, and I'm happy for that because I'm a big fan. Joe, what are your thoughts on this? Again, maybe not the biggest announcement for a lot of people, but certainly a big announcement for people who are fans of the series. Is this the prelude to a new next-gen Ninja Gaiden?
This is definitely the test to see if there is a hunger for the series, but kind of like the Onimusha remaster, where it's like, we'll maybe bump up the textures, but it's pretty much just a port of the first three games. So that's pretty much what I can tell of this at first glance. Is just like they're just seeing the temperature in the room more so than we're gonna get everybody back in. They really want to see, hey, is there room for this game now that we have the Soulsborne-esque series, and now seeing Team Ninja doing games like Neo 2. So I think it's them testing the waters more than anything. That's what I see. And maybe it is just a simple cash grab, but from the screens that I've seen, it is it's not even a remaster. It's just like, we're porting these three games. It's going to be on your Xbox, your PlayStation, and your Switch. It can't be a full remaster because I think the Switch.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. They could get a port, but you're not. Yeah, and you know what? Like I said, at this point, I'm happy because we're getting it, and what that tells me is that there is potentially talk on an actual next gen, sequel or reboot. Now, if you guys remember a couple of years ago, and I called this, and I'm still holding this because I had gotten a tip that Microsoft approached Team Ninja to do at least a timed exclusive on a new Ninja Gaiden. Now, is that going to happen? I don't know, because obviously when you get tips, some things are, most things don't pan out. That's just the way it is. But to
add a little context to what you just said, though, I mean, a lot of stuff has been adding up recently.
Yeah,
so, I mean, it could very well be a case, bro. I wouldn't even take all my stake out of that. It could happen, honestly.
And again, I'm still running strong with it. For you, Big Cloud, obviously, you are a big Souls fan. You're a big fan of Bloodborne, and of course, so is Joe. And the start of what made those games, the difficulty that we know they came from the Ninja Gaiden series. If you don't know, Ninja Gaiden Black was unbelievably hard, which, by the way, I beat that on the hardest level, which is why I don't understand how I don't have the patience for Souls games. But that particular
I mean,
franchise,
when you take a break from them, it's like, you kind of lose that
you lose it.
patience.
Listen, I'm
that's
the
the
old
kind of
man in the
thing.
room. I get it.
Yeah, you take that long hiatus, like, well, it's kind of hard to get back in them. But I'm happy for it. Like, I even based my Neo 1 characters like design off of Rio Hayabusa. I actually have that. I actually sent it to you guys in the DM if you guys want to see
It
it.
looks dope as
And
hell.
that's where I literally based my character off of. I was like, this is awesome. As far as when it comes out, how they gonna do it. I hope they do a full-fledged, I hope they go all out. If this is just like a sign that, hey guys, yeah, it's not the full-fledged ray tracing, right? We're not going all that just yet. This is just a taste of, this is like a trip down memory lane. And then we're gonna hit you with what's possible with the character now. Then okay, I'm all for it, honestly. But just don't do a Capcom. Remember how Capcom got us hyped for Resident Evil 4, and it was like, oh my god, we're gonna get the full-fledged remake, and then we got it. It was like, Capcom, I have this on PC.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here?
I mean, listen, like, I know, Joe, you mentioned, and that was a good mention. The Animusha, which I beat. I bought it, I beat it, I loved it. It was $20. You know what I'm saying? And I think it was Capcom's way of just kind of testing the water to see if there is a fan base for it. There is. And we know that they are working on a new one. I wish they do the same thing. I know this is going to sound, cliche-ish based on we want better, but I would take a remastered Dino Crisis so they can test the waters to see about making a new one. And I think a lot of these HD remasters that you're seeing are being done to see if there is a fan base, and I think something like this is going to sell. I really do. I mean, think about what we're getting this year. We're getting a Ninja Gaiden trilogy. We're getting a Mass Effect trilogy.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We don't even know what else we're going to be getting. We could be getting a ton of other older games brought forward. Now,
you mind if I add this to with your point? Do you think this is the generation that we're going to be seeing a lot of successors?
I absolutely do. I think, you mentioned that in the DM, dude, and I think you're onto something with that.
Yeah,
as a matter of fact, I'd love to see you do a video based on it, because I really think you're onto something. I think that what you're going to start seeing is developers or smaller studios that are just tired of waiting for an Animusha. They're going to do it themselves. It's not going to be called Animusha, but it's going to be a spiritual successor. You're going to see Dino Crisis, like the video that you did about that new game that's like Dino Crisis, except it's first person. I think you're going to start seeing.
We got the OG creator giving us Dead Space reincarnated with Callisto Protocol. It's like man.
Yeah, it's. I put it to this way. You know what? It's exciting for old school fans, but you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. As someone that has a love for this industry and loves to see the little guy, because we're all little channels, right? We're all trying to become big channels. And how do you do that? Well, you got to put your foot forward and start a channel and then put the work into it. What I'm hoping to see is some of these small developer studios that we've never heard of take a shot at an Animusha, a Dino Crisis, a Ninja Gaiden, and say, and then, of course, the community will respond in kind, because they're going to be like, we want these. And then, of course, they could be cult classics. They could be good. Hell, they may even be approached by a Capcom or a Team Ninja to say, wow, we like what you did. We don't have the time to do it, but do you want to do it? And they go and they make it. So we don't know what's going to happen, but I'm interested to see what this turns out to be. Again, I think Joe's onto something. To me, just looking at the trailer, and I've watched the trailer a dozen times, it does look like it's a ho-hum port. But I'm going to buy it because I'm a fan and I want achievements and I want trophies. Hell, I might buy it on 2 consoles. I don't know. But let's get to Crispy Bomb. Crispy, listen, this is a collection that a lot of people have been asking for, and people are now going to get it. What are your thoughts on this?
Give them what they want, right? I mean, come on. I remember playing the first one. I don't believe I played all 3. Definitely not. Definitely a time in my my gaming where I was jumping all over the place. Blockbuster was still somewhat alive, and you could just go and rent whatever you wanted. So it would be like a 5-day spent on some of these games. I don't even remember playing half of them, but I definitely interested. Hopefully it's more of, they kind of really go through the whole game, all the games, and kind of make them better, like throughout, everything, controls, everything. Hopefully it's not what Boom says, just a, half-ass port, as we like
I
to
hope
call
not.
it.
Yeah.
Because especially for your sake, Boom, because I know you're really excited for this. So, it's great for the community to get these games. They're getting rehashed. Some of them are probably going to be better than others, and this year is the year where you're going to be comparing, the Mass Effect versus the Ninja Gaiden versus, just that we're going to see all these games that are spiritual successors. It's going to be an interesting year. I don't know if it's a little too soon for this, because really, I mean, we're still seeing both consoles getting optimized for, but hey, you're getting some games you've been asking for, so I think it's a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we're all listen again. If you this is not a game that's going to be for everyone, but I think that if you are missed out on this series, this is a good shot to good time to jump into it. It is unbelievably brutal, very gory. Limbs are flying off all over the place, and the boss battles are reminiscent of what you get in the Souls games. I mean, they're not. I don't know if it's as challenging, but it is definitely will give you a run for your money. Dreadpool, before we get to you, brother, let me thank Abacaba72 in the chat. He drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, I guess people who said that the Xbox Series S would hold back gaming because of the RAM didn't factor in the Switch doing it. And that's pretty interesting because, the Switch is the lowest common denominator, and we're seeing that games that are coming out are being... I mean, I think they're worse than bare bones. And Joe, I'm interested to check out that Apex Legends thing. I want to see what you're talking about.
Let me try to find it on YouTube. Maybe you throw it up on the stream. I don't know how Streamlabs works, but it's rough.
Yeah, I could share the screen if you have it. Just mute it on your end. But Dreadpool, for you, is this a game that you're a trilogy you're going to pick up? Or are you gonna stay? I can play Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2 right now on my Xbox for free with backwards compatibility.
Yeah, it's going to be one that I'm looking at buying. You had mentioned about Xbox communicating with them. I'm going to throw out that conspiracy theory of Game Pass.
Yeah,
you never know. I mean, it could be something like that. We'll have to wait and see. It's just, how soon do you want it? Right? If you want it right now, then you're probably going to have to buy it right now. But this goes back to earlier, how I was saying, if you don't support games when they're being mastered like this, it doesn't show that there's interest for the, Ninja Gaiden Possible 4, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's the other catch. Yet again, this is a prime example. We all love this, and we want to see, a 4 come out. We want to see something better than what they did with 3. But we want to see something, right? Now, the other thing is, we're talking about the lazy remaster, right? Does anybody remember how well this game looked on the OG Xbox?
Yeah.
Does anybody remember how it looks on the series? I'm sorry, on the One X with the tech that they put behind it?
Yep.
So a lazy port of this one would still look a lot better than if, I don't know, Nintendo put some effort in Mario.
I agree. Kind of depends. It really depends, honestly, bro. I mean, look what they did with Apex. I just saw what Joe was talking back, and ouch.
Yeah, I'm looking at. I'm literally watching it right now. It's pretty bad.
My god,
it's pretty awful.
Snapshot. You're like, okay. Like they're firing the Spitfire. I'm like, okay, all right. And then like, woof. Like it's oof.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, definitely not good. But listen, it is what it is.
Graphics, guys.
Yeah, that's true. So I mean, so obviously, Dreadpool, you're going to pick this up. But again, looking at the screen, we don't know how it's going to run on either of the newer consoles. I do hope that it is somewhat up-res in a way that it does look not blurry. Like not no choppy edges.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll clean it up.
Yeah.
You can't have something like this, especially with PS5 and series, that we're going to have very, like that lazily. I mean, as good as the games looked, up converted, and with the 4 sampling, whatever, I forgot what it's called now. But anyway, with everything that they're doing to up-res it, this will definitely be a lot better than what the old games were. Okay, so.
Oh yeah, I think so for sure.
So would you guys say remakes over remaster in general? I'll take a remake.
Yes,
I would rather have a remake for sure.
Yeah.
Again, that's one of the things that I like about PlayStation is like every so often, they give you these cult classic games, and they really do the best to polish them, but to give you the same feel as well. Like whether it's like Demon Souls, whether it is the Ico collection, like they do things to really get you invested in some of the more niche titles in their catalog. And
see, that's the only thing I don't like about like a remaster is it keeps the controls there. That's why I like remakes, because you can fine tune the camera controls. You got to remember, 20 years ago, camera controls weren't there. It wasn't like that big of a deal.
Yeah, it was just a one shot.
It was so primitive.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to stuff like this is what we talked about before with Mass Effect 1. The very first one, we want better controls. That was kind of why some people lost Mass Effect, because they're like, all right, we're at 1 and I can't do this. And everybody's like, you know what? If you haven't played it since then, jump into 2. Start from there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason for this. There's a lot of people that weren't accustomed to those style of games back then with the camera controls and some of the other controls, but where we're at now. So bring it up to date, not just visually, but physically for us. You know what I mean? Let's get that feel that it's still the same game, but yet we have better control now, so we can actually play the game a little bit easier for everybody, not just the old timers, not just for the newcomers, for everybody.
Right.
And that's where that thing is a fine line of how much does it change from the game because you've altered it so much. And when they do something like this for Ninja Gaiden, I don't think we're going to have that much of an issue. And that's why, when it comes to the visuals, I think it's just cleaning it up, maybe get some more enhancements on there so that way, the jaggies aren't there, just a little bit better. I think we'll be fine. And at the price point, I mean, think about it. Let's say they release it at $60. 3 games for $60. I know that.
Yes, that's not a bad deal. That's actually not a bad deal.
Right. See, so I mean, we got to put it in perspective. We're not looking at one game being like that. We're looking at all 3.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to when it comes out, we kind of have to make that choice and see what the actual options that they gave us are at this price point, at this visual, at this. You know what I mean? There's a little bit more to it before we can just say, plain and simple, oh, it's a lazy dev, or well, fuck, if it's $30, fine, $30 it is. That's $10 a game.
Exactly. That's the other thing. If the price matches what you see, go for it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and again, if we do get all 3 games for, I'm assuming $60, it is $20 a game, and again, for me, I'm going to play those like they're new. I'm happy that we're getting Mass Effect, because Mass Effect Trilogy, I'm going to play like it's a new game. I'm going to run through that series. I loved it.
Oh, absolutely.
I've beaten each one of those multiple times, and I will play this running on the Series X.
Any of you guys looking at Rockstar's latest collection that they're coming out with, supposedly, where it's GTA 4?
I heard about that. Yeah, they're making money too.
The reason I said that, because remember you said like you'll pay, if it's like $20 per game, $60. What if it's like more than that? What if they go for the $70 price?
I'm gonna have to. I'm waiting for a sale. I would pass on that, because GTA 4, not one of my personal favorites. I don't know if they could remaster any of the older ones. I think they would look unbelievably awful. And then they wouldn't be worth it. I think the closest one that they could potentially do is 4 and all of the DLC. And that's something that company, 2K, they would charge $70 for that game, and I would skip it because I bought GTA 5 multiple times, like everyone has. I mean, it's the reason why they sold 100 million copies of that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, you know what? Again, this is a small topic of the day. I do want to get to one of the big ones. This one is a conundrum, folks. And we're going to be talking about Stadia. And before we get into exactly what Phil Harrison of Microsoft had to say, I was doing some research on this particular topic, and what I found to be pretty heinous is the amount of mass layoffs. And here's how the story is broken down, folks. And I'm gonna go from top to bottom on this. Developers at Google recently formed the game studios were shocked to know February 1st that they were notified that the studio would be shutting down, according to 4 sources with knowledge of what actually transpired. But here's where it gets disgusting. Just the week prior, Google Stadia Vice President and General Manager Phil Harrison sent an email lauding the staff on their great progress and success with Stadia. And then the week next hit the same group of people with mass layoffs. And it was announced that it was a part of an apparent pattern of Stadia leadership not being honest and upfront with the company's developers, many of which had upended their lives and careers to join the team when it was originally announced. Now, this is where it gets crazy. Stadia Games and Entertainment has made great. This is the email he sent to the people. Okay, check this out. Stadia Games and Entertainment has made great progress building a diverse and talented team and establishing a strong lineup of Stadia exclusive games. This is from Harrison's personal email he sent to the company. This was on January 27th. According to the sources, we will confirm the SG&E investment envelope shortly, which will in turn inform the SG&E strategy for 2021, and that includes objectives and key results. Now, of course, Kotaku ran this story. They're the ones that broke this first. They reached out to Google, who declined comments. Now, 5 days after that email, Harrison appeared to reverse course completely, 100%, a complete 180, announcing in a public blog post that the head of Stadia Games and Entertainment, Jade Raymond, left the company and Google would not be investing further, bringing its exclusive content from our internal teams at SG&E to a close. Wow, Joe. I mean, first of all, Jade Raymond is a name. If you don't know where she started, she is a talented and very, very smart woman in the industry. I don't know where she's going to go. I'm hoping that Microsoft picks her up and gives her a studio, says, make whatever you want. Here's a bag of money. I don't know what that's going to happen. Maybe she has enough money that she could retire, but she broke out. And Phil Harrison has once again done his due diligence to ruin another company. What happens next, Joe?
Yeah. I don't know. That's, I think if you're Microsoft, you're in the best position right now, right? I think if you're Stadia, I don't see the future, even if it is just like we're going to be just a library of games, right? Like when they're just like, oh, we're still going to be pumping out, 100 games this year. It's like, well, yeah, PlayStation and Microsoft are pumping out hundreds of games this year. Like that doesn't show that you have life. A lot of people, this was the fear of Google and maybe even the expectation of Google of just like this thing wasn't a runaway success at start, so we're just going to up and abandon it. And I don't know, do you want me to talk about a little bit about the Microsoft buying Bethesda thing? Or you want me to
please, by all means. Now, before you get to that, let me paint the picture. In the same conversation, and this is where it gets crazy, Phil Harrison actually said this, folks, where he blames Microsoft's acquisition of ZeniMax and Bethesda Studios as one of the main reasons to close down the game development aspect of Google Stadia. I mean, and he said that, folks. I mean, if you want, I'll go, Joe. I'll what do you call it? I'll look for the quote exactly. But hit on that particular point because it's ridiculous.
So I think what Philly Eagle says, I like this. The failure of Stadia is 100% due to Google. It has nothing to do with Microsoft due to the failure with Stadia. And I think they're absolutely right there. This isn't necessarily, you could call it a scapegoat if you want, but like this isn't because, of xCloud or Game Pass. This is Google's poor step out of the gate. When you have the CEO of a company step out and the first thing he says when he's going to sell you on a gaming service is, I'm not a gamer. Like that's where you have the first stumble is all these things that you're doing just seem like little cliches that you think gamers would like. Phil Harrison and co, I think the biggest problem with Stadia was the lack of investment. Like they invested on the tech, but they didn't invest in the games, right? Like the tech is there. Google has a very capable streaming platform. Same with like Amazon, same with Microsoft. And so they just saw this as an opportunity to go, let's break into this other industry, see where we can go. But they didn't understand that you need a footprint and you need a proof of concept in order to execute your vision, right? So you can't just go like, yeah, we're gonna be here. It's like, okay, but why should I be here with you? So I think if I was Stadia or if I was Google, I know like the rumor was that they were kind of talking to Bethesda. I don't really know if that's accurate, but I think if you are Google, you just saw Microsoft lay down billions of dollars for a big piece of the pie. And you're just like, if I'm Google, you're like, okay, shit. like, okay, this company's really serious. Okay, this company has a streaming platform that people are really gravitating towards. And if you're taking a look at it through Microsoft's growth via Game Pass versus Stadia's growth via Google, Stadia Pro, you could kind of see the writing was on the wall for them. So I don't think it's just because Stadia saw Microsoft buy this thing that scared them. It was Stadia saw the investment Microsoft made and saw that they would have to do something even bigger and said, this isn't worth it. And that's what I think really was the nail on the coffin more than the deciding factor. I think as the year went on, when they had those little Stadia directs, and you saw only like a couple thousand people in that chat, like I saw like the streamed numbers on YouTube were like 20,000. At watch time, and like that's and like how YouTube even works when it comes to streaming is like those numbers are bloated. So like it's really like when you're taking a look at like 20,000 people streamed on YouTube, it's probably more like 5,000 people actually watched. And when you could see on just like the PlayStation end, like 100,000 people came to watch Death Stranding womp. Hundreds of thousands of people came to watch that Nintendo Direct, and you could only garner 5,000 folks to watch this worldwide.
Yeah, it's bad, dude. It's bad.
Yeah, it was interesting.
To your point, Joe, I found the exact quote. Okay, so this is coming from IGN. I know a lot of people hate them, but this is all I can find. Okay. Yeah, I had to shoot from the hip here, so I found it. I'm gonna read it from them, and I have to give them credit because I always give credit to where I pull these sources. According to Kotaku sources, Harrison pointed specifically to COVID-19 and rising costs of game development. But he then points to Microsoft's buying spree and planned acquisition of Bethesda game studios later this year as one of the main factors that had made Google decide to close the book on the original game development aspect of Google Stadia, end quote.
Yeah, it's just it is something where they're looking at the numbers, they're looking at the investment, and they're like, we don't care about this nearly enough to go out there and invest. Because look, if Microsoft had to, and who wrote that, by the way? Is it my good friend Adam Baker, who's one of the kindest human beings I've ever met on the entire planet, on that IGN article?
I don't know, actually, to be honest with you.
Okay, I'm just gonna assume it's Adam. Hi, Adam. So. Yeah, when they're taking a look at that, I think it is one of the deciding factors, because I'm going to quote my good friend Sean Capri of saying, like, look, when that purchase happened, my good friend Sean Capri of the Xbox Drive said Microsoft initially spent $7 billion to gain a legacy in the gaming industry. And if you're doing, and I think that's a smart thing, because when you take a look at PlayStation, you take a look at Nintendo, companies born in the 80s, 90s, you have that lineage. And Microsoft essentially did that when they bought Bethesda, which has that lineage in the 90s, right? And they have that smart partnership throughout the years with Xbox as well. So, seeing Microsoft go out there by $7 billion, you're looking at Google, you're looking at Phil Harrison, you're looking at Google going, okay, they just initially bought this thing for $7 billion that now they have a home here. Where can we actually go? Who can we actually buy to gain that lineage, to gain that lineup, to gain those IP overnight? And when you're taking a look at buying a public company over a private company, like let's just say they're going to look at something like an Ubisoft, like that's way more expensive just because they're a public company, and that is not a good look if you're just going in there and taking over companies. So like you're taking a look at it through a business perspective, you're just like, maybe this isn't here for us. Maybe we don't lack the infrastructure on the IP front to really compete with an Xbox or a PlayStation. And so I really do feel like with Stadia leaving, I more feeling than not, we're going to see Microsoft's going to be the Netflix, PlayStation's probably going to be the Hulu, right? Yeah. Like both of these services are similar but different in various ways, and I think Netflix is the juggernaut and Hulu is there. That's what I'm kind of thinking here. I don't think Stadia, the way they've treated their people is the way we feared, and whoever taps Jade Raymond to make anything, you're in for a treat.
She's ultra talented, and obviously we know her lineage, where she came from. We know that she can run a studio correctly.
One question for you, Boom, though. I'm sorry, and then it's the last thing. I swear.
Yeah, it's fine.
Is who keeps hiring Phil Harris?
That is a good question. I don't know.
Phil.
Phil's
I mean, listen,
he has like the worst track record right now.
He does.
With Microsoft with their worst console.
Yeah,
for 3.
Awful.
0 for 3.
Let's get to Big Cloud. Big Cloud, before I get to your brother, let me thank LMNOP in the chat. Hey, dude, it's so cool to see you here, brother. Glad that you are here. But of course, thank you for your generosity. As always, he drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says the only standout in the collection will be part 3 at 4K 60. I think he's talking about Ninja Gaiden Razor's Edge. Which, I agree with you. The Xbox version are still king at 4K 60 locked. Well, then hopefully we can certainly get that. And we had a big one come in from East Texas Alex. Now, this one is a little special because he does live in Texas. And quite right now, if you don't know, if you haven't been paying attention, Texas and a good portion of that part of the country has been bombed with incredible freaky weather, snow. It snowed in Texas for days. But I hope that you find yourself well, East Texas Alex. I want to thank you for your generosity. You certainly did not need to do that, especially at $10, but thank you very much. He says, good morning, everyone. The sun is finally shining here in Texas. Thank God for that. At least you won't have any more pipe breaks from the frozen water. I hope that all of this ice leaves and never comes back. Stay safe, everyone. Hit that like button, everyone. Well, thanks, Texas. Definitely appreciate that. It's very kind of you, and I certainly appreciate the generosity. And hopefully, you are safe wherever you are. But BitCloud, this is a big deal. Because Stadia, if you remember, and I think that you did, because I think you actually streamed it, got up on stage and said, we are better than both. They had more teraflops
they
than
showed
the Xbox
teraflops.
One and the PlayStation 4 combined. And, obviously, Joe, I think you had said this in one of your trophy room episodes, and this is going back a while, that your fear was Google was going to do what Google does. When something doesn't work, they immediately abandon it. And and what you said wind up coming to fruition. First of all, how bad is this for Google? And more importantly, will Phil Harrison ever run anything ever again?
He's over what? 2? Over 3? Over 3 right now?
Over 3.
Yeah, he's over a lot. So
Xbox One now, Stadia.
Yeah, so he ain't. Good luck to Mr. Harrison. But going back to this, listen, I don't even think anybody's gonna buy into another future endeavor from Google at this point. How many people bought into this thinking they were in this for the long-term haul, and just for them to abruptly just kill it like this? And granted, I already knew it was going to happen because they said they were no longer making first-party content. Yeah, I remember. At the end of the day, when you're selling these consoles, it's a tag team effort, is it not? You need first-party and you need third-party.
Yes.
You need the first party to stand out in your own particular way. Third party, obviously, you need those as well. Now, with Microsoft buying, ZeniMax and all this stuff, it's like they knew they screwed up. They weren't going anywhere. And now they just called it quits. I don't even know what to say at this point. I really don't. I mean, do they what? Are they going to... I'm like, are you going to sell your service to Microsoft? Are you going to do something? I don't know what you're going to do at this point, because... It's like, well, what can you do? What can you do at this point? Microsoft killed you without even their service hasn't even launched yet, and you're already gone. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's bad, but you know something? It's very typical, and you're onto something. You said something that's really interesting, BitCloud. Who is going to ever trust Google to do an endeavor? And I think that this. At its core, it's bad it's bad and good, I suppose, for gaming, because at least they're not going to have 5 or 6 years of your money invested in games and then the service died. It died rather quickly. I had a lot of people gift me codes to play it. I never did. I was never going to get involved. It's just,
the other thing about it too, it was the pipe dream. Remember the pipe dream they were talking about when they said that they can like render? Basically, they were trying to take a jab at Crackdown 3. Do y'all remember that? It was like the whole cloud power game, something like that. It was basically the pipe dream. They were like, yeah, guys, by the way, we expect in this time internet connections to be so good we can do this. I'm like, Phil, I hate to break it to you. Google Fiber, Verizon files are in set locations. It's not everywhere. Stop. Okay, and stop. Just stop it. You're not going to get there anytime soon, unless you're like tripling down
the data cap narrative.
Exactly. It's like, unless you're tripling down and you're actually pushing Google Fiber to be worldwide as it should, I don't want to hear it. You're not ever going to touch those speeds. It's not going to happen. So, again, another pipe dream. It's not happening.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, the old saying, "Good riddance to bad rubbish," right? Again, I don't know what's going to happen, but again, I think that I want to bring this back down to a human level, and I kind of just want to talk to Crispy Bomb about this, because everyone forgets that at the core of any company is its human employees, right? We could talk about tech, and we could talk about money, and we could talk about games, but in real life, it comes down to the people. And who I feel bad for, Crispy, especially especially now more than ever, is that there are people, and you heard me read it in the article, there were people that uplifted their lives to move to wherever this thing was for the promise that Google Stadia was going to be here for the long haul. And in 1 week's time, it went from, we are so proud of the work that you folks were able to do. 7 days later, oh, we're closing the studio. Have a nice day. Here's your severance. I think at the end of the day, that's the gross part. What are your thoughts on this whole Google Stadia closure scenario?
It's disheartening and sad. I mean, I think we all remember, at least any of us that saw the movie The Internship.
Yep.
And,
Yes.
And googliness. Remember that?
I love that film, by the way.
It's like that movie Fun with Dick and Jane. Yeah, I remember. Like, I'm being knighted. Like when they shut down the whole building.
But and I think I almost feel like Google at this point has lost their googliness. Like, seriously, are you, and especially for those people that literally like they moved, they did everything, they went all in with Google and said, we're going to make this. And for them to do it like this, like literally, like you couldn't, some companies will do it the right way. Let's say, look, we're shutting down this. You're still going to be employed for this period of time. Get your resume going, find a place. I mean, if you're going to stop making the games, like, what does it matter? It's not like, like for me being in retail, you want that store to make money right up until it's done. So you don't want to lose the employees. So you'll go and shadow drop, hey, we're closing this store. You know what I mean? And some of you we're going to keep, some of you we're going to say, hey, you can go an hour away, and some of you are just going to get laid off. And that's unfortunate, unfortunately how it works in a lot of industries. This is just, it's just horrible. Like, Phil Harrison, what is wrong with this guy? Like, do you know how to run a company at this point? Do you know how to run a part of a company? Like, I don't understand. And, I want to call out that, Xbox, we were at that point. Like, this ZeniMax deal really, really showed us that they are going all in and they're here to stay. And that means a lot to the Xbox community. We were like, okay, now we're playing ball. Now for this dude to go and say, oh, it's their fault, dude, Google, it's they're one of the big 4 or 5 of the entire world. Like,
could have bought them like years prior.
Yeah.
Double the money and still would have made that back within that same year.
But for them to also do this, you also got to look at Luna at the other side that just started. And you got to say, I bet you they're not going to go anywhere, but they're going to sit there nice and quiet, and they're going to do their thing because they also have a huge subscription base in Prime. And I'm going to tell you, they're going to probably use that now. And I think that's what they're going to do because they see how Stadia didn't work, but they have the servers, and I believe they've already made it one studio. I think it's one, right? And they're going to quietly. They might grab up some of these people, which would be good for them.
That's a possibility too, because obviously they're going to have people that were there and help set up the infrastructure and may have the know-how. So yeah, that's actually a fantastic idea.
So
I hope that does happen.
Yeah,
I feel for the developers though. It's like Amy Hennig all over again. If y'all notice this, it's literally Amy Hennig all over again.
Yeah, but it's definitely one of those things where Xbox is just gonna start steamrolling. And they haven't even released the product yet here. They've basically full released in Asia, and it's just blowing up from what I understand.
Yeah, no, it's doing very well in both Korea and in Japan, for that matter. And again, I think the success of it is because Microsoft is doing things different. Sure, they're offering the console if you want it, but the ability to push xCloud, the ability to allow someone to get into the ecosystem for only $15 a month. I'm not sure what the yen crossover would be there, but it's certainly appealing. And again, there's a reason, folks. And again, this is All of we know that Phil went from 2018 to 2020 at least 18 times to both Korea and Japan. He spent a lot of time in that region because he was doing a lot of handshaking deals and trying to make Xbox relevant in two regions that it did not even have an inch of space, right? And how they're doing that is, of course, through what is big there. Their mobile market in those two regions is insanely big. And if Microsoft can get in, I mean, again, are they going to take over the universe? No. Is the Switch and Sony's PlayStation brand still going to be relevant there? Absolutely. But there's a difference this time. Microsoft is not trying to only push a console. They're trying to sell a service. And if they can get people for that $15 or whatever the crossover in yen and in Korea funds is, it is going to go a long way for them, and they're going to get people playing in their service that they never had before. It's a big deal, and like I said, this Google thing, I think for me as someone who covers the industry in a podcasting way, I don't feel bad for Google that this happened. I feel bad for the people that are affected by this, that literally they said in the article were upheaved and moved their families to this new location on a promise that wound up being a lie. And I think that is the real sad part. Dreadpool, listen, you've been on the show, and as someone who has seen this kind of behavior from big companies before, I want you to talk about this from the little man's perspective. How bad is this now for those families that are going to be displaced because of this closure?
Oh, it's always bad. I mean, you got to remember, you spent how much money to travel there on a faith, right?
Yes.
Now you're probably looking back at how do I stay where I'm at, and how do I go back to where I was? Can I get my old job back? Okay, so there's a lot of it that there's a little bit more behind the scenes stuff that we also are not thinking of. Okay, Google also said to their employees that they're going to look for positions within Google for them.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the contractors. Well, most contractors are not lifting up and going somewhere to be a contractor unless they're going to do that as a normal thing, right? So they're going from company to company anyway. Now the other thing is, studios have also posted on Twitter, hey, come check us out. We have openings. All right. So yet again, and Microsoft was one of them because I retweeted it from one of the Microsoft PR guys that they have openings. So it's not as doom and gloom for those go-getters. Okay. Those other ones that want to sit there and sit back and kind of like, well, this sucks. Yeah, life sucks. But guess what? We get back on that horse and we ride off into the sunset. We don't let it sit there and walk away from us while we can still get up and grab those reins and get back on that horse. Okay, so there's some of it. Here's the other thing that we're not also thinking about. Why did Google get rid of them? It wasn't just because one week everything was fine, the next week everything wasn't. Okay, yeah. Google is also doubling down on the smart home section.
Yep. Yes. Okay? Yeah.
So when they're doubling down there, so where's the money that they need, right? What happened with Mixer, right? Microsoft was trying to do that with Mixer, and they said, look, if we're going to double down, this money is not getting us what we want. It's not to the point where we're actually getting returns that seems profitable or even workable. We're limping along here. Let's get that money and focus it somewhere else. So this is just another nail in the coffin. Okay, so when Phil said, hey, you guys are doing great, as far as he know, they probably were doing great. At the same time, you can't tell everybody, hey, by the way, next week I'm going to have to come back and let you guys know that you don't have a job.
Yeah.
We're going to try to...
I mean, their main game, they were... I'm sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, but as a leader, you can't let people down like that until it's the last moment. Okay? When you have to kill your workforce by 50%, you don't tell everybody that, hey, my bosses are saying we're going to go in a different direction and I can only keep 50 of you. You don't say that. They don't do that from week to week. right? It's months. Okay, how's the productivity look here? How's the product? Okay, run those numbers again now that it's a month later. How does this productivity look so we know who to keep? Run those numbers again the following month, right? It could have been a 6-month process, right?
And I think you're onto something with that. I mean, it certainly wasn't a 1-month situation. They've been playing the numbers and analyzing this for a while now. Yeah, I think you're right.
Right. So a lot of the tech, and they even said, hey, our tech is out there for you to use. So if anybody wants, so they're still trying to make money off the tech. They're trying to lease that tech out to other people.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're not looking at it as a total loss. They're just like, look, let's cut the losses where we're losing money. Let's cut the bleeding. Let's amputate this bad hand that's got gangrene on it, and let's move on. Let's save the life, save the rest of the arm. We can do something with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of always been their problem,
Sorry.
though. Oh, you're fine, but that's kind of always been their problem, right? Like they fail to realize that sometimes you got to spend money to
Make money.
right?
Yeah, indeed.
And that's the issue.
Microsoft has taught us this year, and or this past few years. And honestly, again, like if I'm Microsoft, I'm in a good position because I not only have my own service, but now I am empowering my competition. Like, a lot of people, I don't think you're going to want to start shitting on PlayStation Now in the future when it gets that revamp, because
it's getting that revamp. We know what's happening,
and it needs it so bad.
Like dudes need to wake up for that. It's going to happen.
It's run by at the Azure cloud. It's run by this. It's going to be the same technology as Game Pass.
Yep.
So that's the one thing that, like, if I'm Microsoft, I'm rubbing my hands in glee, man, because now I have my own service and my competition is using my parents' technology.
Yep.
So it's like Google's plan is like, oh, we're going to like talk to Ubisoft, see if they want to use this, or we'll talk to EA, see if they want to use this. And what Microsoft is effectively doing is they're trying to become so big that Ubisoft has to join Game Pass, EA has to join Game Pass, Activision has to join Game Pass. And if I'm Google, like, what's the incentive? The only person that I could see, honest to God, doing this and maybe having some type of success with it is probably Nintendo. Google and Nintendo have a bit of a
wasn't Microsoft supposed to be helping Nintendo with their
supposedly they're working together, so you never know. They actually could use Azure servers as well. And again, maybe Microsoft is helping them behind the scenes build a proper online infrastructure.
And that's why I think we're seeing Microsoft look. The talk in the room for a very long time is they want to get Game Pass on Switch, and that's why you saw a lot of the partnerships between games like Ori and games like Cuphead on the Switch. It's why you see like Banjo and Kazooie in Smash. They really want to gain that partnership and that relationship with Nintendo and have a serious bond with them. Nintendo has been using cloud services in Japan for quite a bit of time, but now you're starting to see them actually kind of do it with games like Hitman, games like Control on that streaming service.
Yeah.
So if they're trying to build that ecosystem with them, and the bridge is Minecraft, we talked a little bit about. Minecraft is insanely huge on Switch. It's a monster on that console. If you're seeing that connection of like Xbox Live is now integrated in the Switch in terms of games like Minecraft, you're going to hopefully see that partnership continue. But if I'm Google and I need to make money on this service somehow, how do you offer how do you do it? Do you give them a deal they can't say no to? How does that work? I know they've worked together in the past when it comes to like some of the mobile stuff and some of their online games, but that's really my question is, where and who does Google team up with? And if I'm Xbox, now I have a foothold in this industry that will last forever. And that's good news for everybody.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, listen, this has been a great topic. Dreadpool, anything else you want to close out the topic with?
Well, that's what I was going to say was when you play the long game versus the short game, this is what happens. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I did. Yeah.
And they promised a lot, and they didn't look too far into the future with everything that they promised. They overpromised and underdelivered. I mean, we're supposed to have certain things with Ubisoft games, and where you're playing Breakpoint, and you can actually see in the corner of your screen your other teammates and see what's going on, what's going on with them, so that way you can better assess where your priorities are with helping out your teammate and where you're at. You know what I mean? So there are certain features that they were promoting that wasn't there yet. I mean, even the integration between Stadia and Google to stream on YouTube wasn't 100% clear. I tried it. I haven't had issues with Stadia other than trying to stream it on my 12-year-old PC and then kind of stream it back to the cloud. Or to YouTube and all that, and that's when I learned, you can go directly to it. None of that stuff made sense.
Yeah.
So it didn't work, and then that's part of the problem is they've always lacked communication. And where are the other companies when it comes to this? There are mixed results when it comes to communication to gamers on what they want.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at with this. They may have just decided that, like I said before, this is not the direction we're going because it's not as easy of an uphill climb as we thought it would be. I mean, don't forget, Microsoft was never in the game business before until they did Xbox, right? They were just, you're able to play games on Windows, but it wasn't a game service. Sony, same thing. They got pissed off at Nintendo because Nintendo backed away from their deal, and they said, well, all right, fine, we'll show you up, right? So it takes a while to earn that trust from your gamers that are supporting you. So it takes a while to build all that up, and apparently they didn't look at it that way. They thought that they would be able to get in because we're in the right spot, and they could have. If they would have stayed with it, they could have. But yet again, they weren't doing everything that was necessary.
I agree completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
The way they hyped up Mortal Kombat, you would think Mortal Kombat was like lockdown exclusive. Yeah, I remember that. The way they just put on this pedestal for Stadia.
I mean, again, it's bad marketing. It's bad all around. Hopefully, like I said, the people that are affected aren't too affected, because that's who I care about the most. But I do want to move on to the last topic of the day, and this one's a good one. But before I do that, I have to catch up on some of these very generous super chats. First of all, James 176, welcome back, James. Hopefully you are well. He drops an outstanding $2.10, says, wow, Microsoft made me close my studios. Wow. Pretty ridiculous. Chris Hughes Sr. says, after dropping a $5 super chat, Xbox Game Pass on Stadia. That would have been funny. Oh, real quick, General Spartan 27 in the chat. FYI, folks, apparently PlayStation 5s are available right now on the Best Buy website. Thanks for that information, General Spartan. So if you're looking for a PlayStation 5, definitely head over to Best Buy and hopefully you can snag one. John Mitchell in the chat drops an incredible, very generous $10 super chat and says, Microsoft direct competitor is Apple. Everyone else is up in the rear. Great chat, Boom. Well, thanks for being here, brother. And yeah, I agree. I think Apple has some plans that they have not revealed as of yet. Sick Slayer in the chat drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, in my opinion, this isn't on Phil Harrison. It's more likely whoever he answers to blinked and gave up. Remember, Phil Spencer had to explain his plan to Satya Nadella, and you're absolutely correct in that.
Yeah. and also, one more thing too to mention, so a lot of people think it's like Microsoft v. Apple. It's Microsoft versus Google. And the one thing that I think, if we want to take an even deeper look into this, is Google fights with Microsoft on every single front that they have.
Yes.
Microsoft has Word, Google has Drive, right? Like Microsoft has Windows, Google has the Chrome OS, right?
They also have Windows Chromium. So there's your back and forth.
And so there's a constant back and forth between these two companies. And I think what the thing that Microsoft wants, and I think the thing that they didn't do, and the thing they learned with the phones when that failed for them, was if we're going to do this, we need to do this immediately. We need to show our dominance immediately to Google, and really show them that we're the force to be reckoned with, that they can't just move in on our turf for the most part. And I think this really does signal that, like, we will buy our way to victory with you, Google. You're not going to get a foothold here like you have in other places. And I think that's really smells.
In reality, that is exactly what happened. But the last super chat comes in from a very generous friend of the show. Pixel Bit G drops a very generous $2 super chat, and that actually is a great point. Microsoft also has the Orion service from Bethesda to add to xCloud. And yes, that's also a big deal. But listen, I'm going to pause the screen that you see here, and I'm going to bring up a game that I am very excited for, folks. First of all, one of the things that made Sony's PlayStation 4, and we're starting to see this with the PlayStation 5, is second-party deals. Second-party deals are ultra important for the as first party fans. We of course, we want Perfect Dark, and of course we want Fable and the next Halo and the next Gears and whatever else Obsidian is working on, right? We want all of that, but it's the second party deals that hold the fans who are waiting for these big AAA bombs in a way that we've seen to great success on Sony's platform. Well, right in front of you right now is the preview trailer for Second Extinction. This is the actual gameplay trailer, and that is coming out this year. Now, Second Extinction, if you don't know what we are talking about, is basically, I mean, again, if you want to really just, make this as simple, basic as possible, it is Left 4 Dead with dinosaurs. It is a 4-player co-op game made by a new studio that I have, again, I personally never heard of them, but doesn't mean that they're not good. And look, the game is already looking incredible. Obviously, I think it's going to gain mass appeal with the Xbox players because, of course, Xbox is a console and a platform known for its multiplayer first. Now, the developer's name is Systemic Reaction, and this new trailer was just launched. Now, look, I'm a huge Left 4 Dead fan, but as BitCloud could admit, we are huge Dino Crisis fans.
Yes, sir.
And obviously there is a Dino Crisis-esque game coming out, but see, this looks to potentially scratch the itch of both waiting for the new Dino Crisis, which is eventually going to come out, and of course, waiting for Left 4 Dead, which will never come out. And thankfully, we're getting Back 4 Blood later this year by, of course, the team that brought us Left 4 Dead. And BitCloud, I'll start with you first. Now, again, second-party games for Nintendo do very well. Second-party games for PlayStation have done incredibly well, and we're now starting to see some of these second-party deals come to Xbox. And I think that even though this may not be a AAA quote-unquote bomb, I think that this game has the potential to grab a lot of people's attentions for several reasons. One, it's dinosaurs, which is always cool. Two, it's co-op based, but it can be played single player and actually has a story. And three, it's an exclusive for the Xbox. And more importantly, it's going right into Game Pass day and date. What are your thoughts on Second Extinction?
Yeah, I don't know why people sleep on second, party developers. I mean, look at Rocket League. It's one of the biggest games that we've gotten from last gen. And it started off as a free-to-play game for PS Plus.
Yep, it sure did.
This right here, again, it's good for Microsoft. This can lead to even more against. First of all, I'm just happy that dinosaurs. I don't know about y'all, but I'm happy that dinosaurs are getting that proper
Me too.
respect again. It's been too long. Like everybody makes these crazy sci-fi games where it's just like a bunch of like mutants in a sense, right? Like to try to freak you out. I'm like, you do realize that you have the easiest escape for this. All you gotta do is just make a dinosaur game.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's cool though. It's cool. It looks good. I I am interested to see how it does when it eventually drops for the platform. You know, how many how much is there like to it? I guess you can say, like, you know, is it like horde mode? Like, is it like bigger enemies as you get through different levels? You know, that type of stuff. And when we eventually get to Extinction for you know, with the Dino Crisis successor, that's gonna be another thing. It's like, how long will it be until Capcom looks at that and go, okay, you know what? About that Dino Crisis you know, game, yeah, we're gonna do that next year. So that's where I'm at on it.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think you'll see later on in the video they break it down where your goals are to take down certain dinosaurs and areas to reclaim it for the colony, which is pretty interesting. And as you can see, on top of a Triceratops, on top of a Tyrannosaurus, you're getting attacked by freaking raptors. So it
already does a good job of not like you know how like a lot of people will probably compare this to like, what's that game called, Turok? It
Turok Dinosaur
doesn't
Hunter.
look nothing like Turok. Yeah,
No,
it looks nothing like Turok, which is good. They did a good job so far, differentiating it. So
what's interesting is if you saw the see, like I said, you can call down strikes from space, which is what they did, which was kind of dope. So they each have their own special techniques. You have these weapon drop hubs that drop down, so it gives you additional weapons. They each are going to have a super, so to speak. Joe, let me go to you next on this. This is a game, and again, this is all we got, folks. We got the trailer. We originally saw this in the May event. People poo-pooed it then. They're like, yeah, I don't know what this is going to be. But now that we have actual gameplay, this looks like I could lose myself for hours in this game with friends. I think this is going to be a big deal for Xbox. I personally cannot wait to play this. And again, I know that we have to, you have to talk about Game Pass because it is going to be day and date in there. And I think that when you have that on a new IP that's going to be going up against a Back for Blood, it is pretty interesting that they're going to have a game of this magnitude in there, which is going to appeal to the multiplayer folks on Xbox. What are your thoughts on this? Is this a big deal for Xbox, and should people be excited?
So do we have? I know this game is out on PC, if I'm not mistaken, at the moment.
I believe the beta is currently available on PC.
Do we have a release date for Xbox yet at the end of this trailer?
You know what? I think it's October, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to look it up real quick.
Yeah, this game looks cool as shit, dude.
Imagine like Naughty Dog or just a really crazy AAA devs took the premise of Jurassic Park, the first movie, and redid that just for horror. Oh,
dude, this looks cool as all hell. Yeah, so for me, it depends on when this game releases. When this game comes out for realsies, I feel like if it comes out before Back for Blood, you're probably in the best position. Because Back for Blood has the devs from Left 4 Dead, right? A title that, man, made such a cult following. And I hate to say cult following like the game wasn't huge. The game was huge, just Valve never wanted to greenlight a sequel to it for some reason and never saw the light of day. So seeing them go back to the roots, seeing the alpha in December after the Game Awards, and seeing how many positive reactions and how
dude, it was crazy.
Yeah, if this is the alpha, what the hell is the real game gonna feel like come June? So like this game definitely has an opportunity to hit the market in a really, really powerful way, because I feel like a lot more people want a co-op experience from multiplayer and not just the shoot bang bang of like a Fortnite or an Apex. So to me, it really just depends on when they come out, when this beta lands on Xbox or whatever have you. Because honestly, this is cool. But if this game comes out in October of this year,
October 13th,
yeah, then you're gonna see an issue here, because I'm gonna be playing Battlefield and Halo. And that's the real issue here. So like, for me, it looks cool. I hope it does well, because it looks awesome. And this is definitely a game I'm going to be playing with Luke Lore. I'm probably carrying him in this one as well, because he sucks. He just sucks. Look at those Raptors.
You guys are probably going to be. Look, I'll say this. options are always good. And the one thing I love about games like this, Left 4 Dead, Back 4 Blood, is it's a game that you don't have to necessarily spend 6 hours playing, or you can just jump in, play a match or two with your buddies,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, and jump out and go back to something else.
I
I
also
think that is
Games
one of
like
the
that,
appeals.
ironically, boom, don't even need story modes. You know, it just
Yes.
it
Yeah.
speaks for itself.
Right.
The carnage speaks for itself. It's like
I mean,
that's what it's about.
there's something about when you're games like this, when you're shooting a gun and it practically has no recoil, like with the pistol, like you're just going pop, 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 like there's something about the animations here that's really cool.
We all got to play that game, by the way. We all got to stream this.
absolutely
We all got to
do.
get we got to get on Back 4 Blood. We all got to get on
So
that.
clarification.
Dude, Back 4 Blood, yeah. Hopefully
We all
cross
gotta do it.
because I want my trophies, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's why I will be going Xbox with it. But
So clarification, it is coming to Xbox spring 2021,
oh, then
and it
they're
is
fine.
already released in October 13th of 2020 on Steam.
Ooh.
Just for clarification.
So maybe
Okay.
Daddy doesn't need to even wait. Daddy could play this
Yeah,
game.
maybe
now.
yes.
Play
and
it
then,
right now.
okay,
And
so
it's
thank you for the
three-player.
clarification. For some
And
reason, I thought it was I thought that was the release date. But
Mhm.
that's good. So spring, which is in a month or so, we could get this much sooner than later, which is dope. And you see, again, this is one of the missions. You have to go in and scan the caves, and then while it's scanning, you have to protect the scanner and shoot off the. Again, this looks a lot of fun. Now, I want to go to the multiplayer man of the panel, of course, Crispy Bomb. That is you. And before I do, Pixel Bit G drops an additional outstanding $2 super chat and says, no, Microsoft lost the browser war and had to adopt Chrome. Yeah, I don't use Microsoft's search engine at all. I use
It's so
Chrome.
bad.
It's
so
it's
bad.
awful. But Crispy Bomb, you live and die by the multiplayer. And we know that you have obviously an affection for Gears of War. This looks like a game that is going to be right up your alley. Are you interested in Second Extinction, one of the first second-party exclusives for Xbox in 2021?
Let's go kill some dinos, baby. Woo! Yeah, this and I'll tell you, one thing about multiplayer games, if the controls aren't tight, if the movement doesn't feel right, especially with what you're facing, animals that clearly have adapted and are also very fast and come at you from all different directions. If you don't feel like you are kind of a god in this, kind of reminds me, it almost the gameplay feels so fast and so fluid. It reminds me of like Doom Eternal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you are constantly getting pummeled by things and you have to really be on your game. This looks super fun. I can't wait to play it. Glad it's going to be on Game Pass. That makes my wallet very happy. And I'm definitely looking forward because I know there's going to be a lot of people on my friends list that are going to jump into this game. I think it's going to take a lot of people that have been kind of bored with Destiny and stuff like that, and they're going to at least try this because it's first person, and like I said, this gameplay looks really tight and fluid and also very fast paced, which a lot of people love. So I really think this is going to be a multiplayer sleeper game that a lot of people are going to jump into and kind of waste a lot of time trying to, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more said about it, probably some upgrades, things like that, DLC comes out eventually. People are going to jump back in, jump out, and it's going to be one of those games that probably lasts a decent amount of time.
Yeah, because honestly, like as much as I used to love Call of Duty Zombies, I can't with it anymore. Like it's just too, I guess like complex maybe is the word I'll use, but like it's just way too much now. Like I like a good, like this seems like simple, stupid, turn my brain off, shoot some.
I love that. Yeah, it's okay to have that.
Yeah, and like it feels like there's just enough depth. It's why I love games like Killing Floor, right? Killing Floor, I've sunk hundreds of hours into. It's so good, and so like, yeah, having it where it's depth enough and it's not like over like burdened with systems. That's
Well, you see,
awesome.
like the pieces just, I mean, he just dropped a grenade, and not only did it blow up the pieces, it blew up the actual raptor legs and and tails are flying all over the place.
Yeah.
This
Tell you,
looks really good.
I need a vicious, well done Dino Crisis
Look at the
where
blood
they're
on the
showing
rifle.
where they're showing
look
the
at that.
raptors rip you to pieces. Like I remember
Oh
that
my
scene
God,
when you
yeah.
first get to the station and you find that body that's been eviscerated. Boom.
Yes, I certainly do. We need an HD remake, even if it's a lazy port. I will play that game
I'll play
again.
it too.
Damn it.
Exactly, bro. Just-
Mhm.
I'll take that as in preparation of just the full fledged, remake. I'll do it. Like it's
Yeah, me too. I think
And,
the world needs a Dino Crisis, and I think that this game is going to bring. I like you said, Crispy. I think this is going to surprise a lot of people. I think this is going to become a cult classic. I mean, I'm already excited, and this is just an extended trailer, which was about 16 minutes. Dreadpool, let's get your opinion on this.
dinosaurs are back, baby. That's all I
Yeah,
gotta
back
say.
in a big way, and it's about freaking time. You're a big multiplayer guy, and obviously you love you prefer Xbox first. This is a game that has Xbox written all over it for its multiplayer. It seems like mindless fun that's fast and packed with action. You're going to be running around the whole time. I love what we're seeing. What are your thoughts on what this team is bringing in what essentially is a Left 4 Dead with dinosaurs?
Well, when they first showed it to us earlier last year, I was like, nah, not for me, not at all. But seeing the gameplay, I'm still. If it was just me, it'd be no. It would be definitely not a even bother. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be fun. You know what I mean? And with friends, I would have a lot of fun with this. So when it comes out to game preview in spring, I'm gonna definitely try it out and see how it goes. I want Dino Crisis, but something like this could be a little bit more. It is fast paced, but I think that's partially what the appeal of this is, right?
Yes.
You want something a little bit more fast paced. If you had something like Jurassic Park, I think there would be a little bit more exploratory missions than just a straight shoot 'em up. So it is what it is. I mean, I'm still gonna have to try it out before I give my final verdict if this game is for me or not. But I don't think it will be. So
Okay, I mean, listen. Again, I say this all the time, and I mean it. Not every game is for every gamer. Me personally, again, just my gaming taste. This seems like a game I could enjoy solo with bots as your teammates, or playing multiplayer, which of course would be the ultimate way to play it. You know what I'm saying? That's like Division or Division 2. It's a great for me. I have a great time just running around the map and doing my thing. But it's when I get with my brother and our team that we really start having fun. And I think that this is one of those games. I'm excited for Xbox fans who have been waiting for something that has multiplayer in it. That is also again one of those smaller. Second party exclusives that give you a reason to use your new hardware. And it's hardly, it's, I don't think it's hard to suggest, Joe, that this could potentially run at 120 frames per second.
Oh, absolutely.
On the Series X, which would be incredible, man.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think a game like this could absolutely do that. That would be really awesome. Again, I'm really excited. I want more of these games out here because I'm tired of getting, carrying the team in Fortnite with the 12 kills every game, right? I'm tired of carrying the team in Call of Duty getting game after game of game of the plays. I'm tired of just carrying Luke Lore all on my back all the time. Apex yesterday, I literally had to kill a whole team. I had to revive my whole team. And then I had to kill another whole team just so that we can lose. And who loses it for us? Luke Lore.
Wow. Well, are we happy that Luke Lore is or is not part of the Halo team?
We're probably happy. We're probably happy. Here's
I
who
love
we
you,
We love you,
on
brother.
that.
We love you. But listen, folks, this has been a great 2 hours. I can't believe 2 hours went like that.
Is it really?
This was a lot of fun. We got to all 4 topics. I'm very, very happy about that. We talked Ninja Gaiden. We talked Second Extinction. Of course, we opened up with the Nintendo Direct on what wasn't there as opposed to what was, and that we were all disappointed. Of course, then we talked about Stadia. And I want to thank everyone that came out. We had over 300 people here for today's Breakfast with Boom. I first want to thank the moderators, of course, Lethal Papa, walking silently and carrying a very big band stick that he's known for. It's his hard work that goes a lot of times unnoticed, not by me, but by how people that tune in. He keeps the knuckleheads out, and we've been keeping them out, and he's been doing a real good job at that. So thank you, Lethal. Of course, I want to thank all the super chats, and there was quite a bit of them. Thank you for the generosity. It is honestly and truly greatly appreciated. And of course, I couldn't do this without my outstanding panel who's here each and every Friday. And we're going to start with the outros. And Joe, we'll start with you first. What do you got going on with the trophy room? When is Greg Miller from Kind of Funny Games going to make his appearance?
Soon. March is I have a feeling March and April are going to be some big months for very many reasons for the Trophy Room. Nice. But until then, you can find the latest show over on YouTube at the Trophy Room Show. You can find the podcast wherever you find your podcast, the Trophy Room, PlayStation Podcast, where me and my best friend Kyle talk about the latest and greatest in all things PlayStation each and every Thursday on Google Play, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever you get a podcast service. You can find us there. And next week, we're gonna start the YouTube stuff. Nice. We're gonna have some more YouTube videos. So we got some things. Exciting plans are at play here. It's gonna be fantastic. Weekly content each and every Monday. Who knows? Or Tuesday, whatever I feel like it. Stay tuned.
Well, I mean, listen, look, we're looking forward to what you're doing on that channel. You're doing some great things with the Trophy Room, and we definitely appreciate you being a part of today's show. Thank you so much, Joe. BitCloud, my brother, you have a show this afternoon. What are you going to be talking about, and where can people reach out to you on social media?
Man, good show, man. As always, good talk to everybody. Happy birthday again to Mr. Dreadpool, as always.
Oh yeah.
And you guys find me at BitCloud Gaming, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. It's funny. We actually streamed the most cringiest movie of all time on Twitch. It was hilarious as hell. So we literally sat there. But we're back on the channel 5 p.m. or actually 5:30 for the RGD podcast. And yeah, can't wait.
Well, thanks for being here, brother. Definitely appreciate it. And everyone, I'm hearing from several people in the chat that WandaVision's episode 7 is bonkers bananas.
Yes, sir.
And I cannot wait to watch that with Mrs. Boom while we're having dinner tonight. And also, don't forget about that ridiculous Mortal Kombat trailer. Holy shit.
Can we just talk about that for 5 seconds?
Yes,
I've been waiting for Mortal Kombat to be done so right like this.
This looks so good.
Yes. This looks incredible. Even giving you the backstory for Hanzo Asachi.
Yes,
who is
that was awesome.
Scorpion. That was such an added twist that they didn't need to do, but I'm so grateful that they did that. The only thing that they changed the origin for is Jax. I remember his arms.
Yeah,
that was
Ermac who did that. How his arms get ripped? My god!
It was Ermac who did that. Not Sub-Zero. But other than that, it was incredible.
Yeah, and listen,
it looks like fun, like cheesy /90s, action. It's not going to take itself.
No, it's not going to get an Academy Award, Joe. But exactly. The reality is that it could potentially be one of the better video game films in many, many years. But more importantly, they celebrate what Mortal Kombat is, and every character that you know and love is probably in this movie.
This is probably the best casting for the characters I have seen in a long time. They look fantastic, all of them. Even the costumes for Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I was like, yo, that's like Deadly Alliance type of looks they went for here. It's like, okay, yes. I like this. This is really good.
Yeah, hey, listen, folks. Go on YouTube. Check out the trailer. It's launching, I believe, in April. If I'm not mistaken, on HBO Max, folks. All of their, I mean, listen, if you have HBO Max, we're getting King Kong vs. Godzilla. We're getting Suicide Squad. We're getting, of
Justice
course, Mortal Kombat.
Snyder Cut.
Yes, the Snyder Cut is soon. I cannot wait. Listen, great time to be a nerd. If you like all this stuff like we do, you're going to love it. Crispy Bomb. why don't you tell everyone about what other shows you're on, what you got going on, and more importantly, where can people strike up a conversation on social media?
Oh, gentlemen, it is always a pleasure. Chat, you were fire today as usual. And yeah, it's at Crispy Bomb on Twitter, Crispy Bomb 28 Xbox Live. You can find me on Retro Renegades, 7 p.m. Tuesday night. The next podcast, 8 p.m. Thursdays. And of course, I'll be back here on Breakfast with Boom, 10 a.m. Fridays.
Well, thank you for being here, brother, and look forward to hearing what you have to say next week. I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about. And last, and no way least, the birthday boy of the day, Dreadpool. Tell everyone where they could reach out to you and obviously say happy birthday, which everyone should. But more importantly, talk about breaking bread with Dread and what you got going on with that.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Well, first and foremost, thank you all for showing up. Thank you all for hanging out while I try to figure out my attributes on which pieces I should level up first. If it should be weapons or whatever else. Twitter trolling. I don't know. I might leave that one out. But anyway, you can find me at Dreadpool on Twitter. It's O's instead of zeros, YouTube Gamertag, and I am still on Stadia, even though, rest in peace, it is shutting down soon.
Brave. That's all I'm going to say. You is brave.
Yeah, I've been waiting on that one. So Breaking Bread with Dread on anchor.fm/Dreadpool, all letters, all caps, every week. Game and Beyond the Box, Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Breakfast with Boom, right here at 10 a.m. I was going to take the day off, but I decided I'd share my birthday with you all.
Well, we definitely appreciate it. Love your
Thanks, man.
opinions, and obviously love with the energy you bring to the show. Thank you so much. And everyone, I want to wish everyone a fantastic weekend.
I still got more.
Please keep going there, brother.
And Four Guys with Quarters interviews with Italian clowns. We just did Chance Glasgow. I don't know if you guys know who that is. That is one of the founders of Infinity Ward, a.k.a. Call of Duty.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, so we just
Cool.
did his interview on
Dude,
Wednesday.
that's a big interview,
yeah.
bro.
And-
Congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you. That's all clowns. I mean, that's all on him. He's the one that sets all this stuff up. I just been lucky enough to be there and hang out and be able to do some.
That must have been a really good interview, though.
Oh, it was great. I didn't have to do as much because he just kept on talking. This guy's amazing, amazing person. We need more people like him, to be honest. And then hopefully I will get a chance to meet up with him in person and do a Breaking Bread with Dread with him.
Oh,
So
dude, that would be really cool.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool because I don't know how that's going to go. But yeah. But again, thank you all. My DMs are always open, so anybody wants to talk, vent, whatever, I'll listen. I may not know what to say, but at least I'm here for you.
Yeah, that's kind of you, brother. And obviously, sometimes people just need an open ear or shoulder to talk on. And all of our DMs are open. We're always looking to interact with the community. So if you have questions, comments, opinions, or you just want to straight up a conversation, DM us and we will probably get back to you. I know that I try to answer all of them, even the ones that I don't know. I try to at least get back to. Last super chat of the day, Gamer by Choice drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, "Great show as always, panel." Thank you so much, Gamer by Choice. Definitely appreciate you being here, but of course the generosity, and of course I just want to wish everyone a very warm, safe, and healthy weekend. Obviously, COVID's still a thing. Please wear your mask, wash your hands, wear gloves. Don't take chances. And I'm going to close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dear old dad taught us when we were kids. And I think now, more than ever, it's ultra important. Treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.